Okay, y'all, so quick story time. Well, I don't know if it's going to be quick because, like y'all already know, I talk a lot. So I'm going to try to make this a quick story time on our labor and delivery this go around because this is the first time we haven't recorded anything from the labor itself. Yeah, this is the first time we did not record the labor and delivery. I feel like it's at least fair to give y'all a story time so that y'all can kind of get an idea of how that day went because we did not have the time. And why would you say we didn't record?
What, a labor and delivery?
Yeah.
I just thought we just didn't want to. You know, that was never my speed.
Well, no, see, not the actual, so to speak, delivery part, but we did plan on recording a little bit before and, you know, what we could get from before.
Oh, yeah, it just didn't go down that way.
It didn't go that way, but that's what I'm saying, like...
He was in pain.
Right, I just think...
And it was just you and me?
Yeah, I just think this time, since it was just the two of us, it was like no time for him to just step away and record because I needed him. I needed him, especially when those contractions started to come. For those of you that may not know, like I went natural, no epidural with Sevan, and same this time. So it was like certain pressure points and things that he learned from the doula that we had with Sevan. And so I needed him there to do that. So he can't really record that stuff and be there to help me through those contractions. And I know, you know, you think just put the camera up, but they already let us know, which they didn't do this with Sevan, but they had already let us know and made us sign, had me sign a form that stated I wouldn't record. So it wasn't as simple as just putting the camera up and recording because they would have seen that. So it was not that simple. He would have had to been like, you know, sneaky recording basically, which again, I needed all hands on deck, so we just didn't get to do that. But anyway, I actually had an appointment. When was my appointment? The 17th. We had an appointment on the 17th. I was actually expecting to get a sweep done, and I was not able to get the sweep done at that time. And so I'm not gonna lie, when I left that appointment, I felt a little down because when my due date with Sevan originally was the 7th of February. So when I went in for that appointment and he wasn't there, we did the sweep and he came the next day on the 8th. Just to recap, Golden's birthday is July 28th. His birthday, 28th, Sevan's 8th. Baby girls, I can say her name now because we already did a name reveal over here.
I'm looking at a comment right now because I forgot we haven't disclosed it on TikTok yet.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I forgot y'all know her name, Anaria. So, and Anaria's birthday is on the 18th. So we figured if Sevan wasn't right with his March 10th date that she would come on the 18th. But I in fact knew if I went to that appointment on the 17th and got a sweep that she would be here on the 18th. Like I knew that for a fact. I'm like, get the sweep, she's coming tomorrow, like with Sevan. Well, I wasn't able to get the sweep. And so I left the appointment feeling a little, dry, like, I wish she would have told me this last appointment when I was talking about wanting to get the sweep done and yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. But anyway, didn't get to get the sweep done. At that point, I'm like, well, she can't stay in here forever. We're closer than further. I don't know when she's going to come now. And we'll just have to wait and see. And so I was like, but I am not going to be lazy now and just literally wait for her. Like I'm still going to do stuff to try to help speed the process up if I can. So we ended up going to like almost like where we at now, like a little place where it's like multiple stores and shops around. And
just a little plaza center.
Yeah, a little plaza. And we walk around. Some of you, if you follow us on TikTok, may have seen those videos where I was stopping and doing squats. For those who didn't, we was walking around. I was curb walking, regular walking, and then I also was stopping to do a squat every time I felt a contraction. Mind you, I was 3 centimeters dilated at this point. Forgot to mention that. At my appointment, I was 3 centimeters dilated. Was doing the curb walking, the squats, the regular walking. Did that for, how long would you say?
Probably about 40 minutes.
Okay, so probably, like he said, about 40 minutes. We did that, and then we left from there, and I really wanted to get the Starbucks labor-inducing drink that went viral on TikTok. However, by the time we got back over to our side, it was already closed, Starbucks, the one by us. I was like, I'll just do that tomorrow. So we got home. Later on that night, I went to do the mile circuit. I did the first part of it for 30 minutes, and then like where you lean forward kind of up, I did that for 30 minutes. By the time I got to the second part of the mile circuit, and if you're not aware of what that is, you can just kind of like try to YouTube it or go on TikTok and type it in, and stuff will pop up and you'll be able to see what it is. And so when I got to the second part of it and I'm doing that, I started to feel contractions. And I'm like, sheesh, I remember telling you, I'm like, I'm starting to have contractions, real deal contractions while I'm doing this. And you actually were so tired. He was actually so tired that what did you say? He was like, well, you might as well take a break from doing that. What'd you say?
I don't remember.
You said something like that. You might want to take a break from doing that if you're feeling the contractions or whatever. I'm like, no, that's exactly that's what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get going labor. I'm not trying to stop.
No, I think it's because I had ate something that messed my stomach up, and I hadn't used the bathroom. I was saying I need to use the bathroom.
But you also was sleepy.
Oh.
Yeah, you also was sleepy because you remember when I was like, nah, we finna have to go to the hospital. And you was like, no, before that even, he was like,
I used the bathroom.
And you was laying there, you was like, you don't want to lay down, try to go to sleep? I don't think he's hearing me. I'm saying, I think we're gonna be going into labor.
I think probably because we had already went through that probably a few times, so I'm thinking it's another like, you probably ain't ready. You know what I mean?
I'm like, nah, I'm ready. Like we had just went through that a few days before then.
Yeah.
And I was having contractions, and I thought it was like the real deal, but then it was like, by the time we got in the car to go to the hospital, it started to slow down like tremendously. We'll give him a pass on that. We'll let him slide on that. But because I definitely was like, I don't think this man is understanding. Like, we're not about to be here. We're going to the hospital. I ended up doing that second part. When it got to the third part, I wasn't even able to complete that third round because I'm like, no, these contractions are the contractions. Like, we're for sure going into labor. And so I went downstairs. I actually went down there to tell my mom because we would have to leave the boys with her. So I went down there to tell her. I'm like, no. And mind you, she knew about the one a couple of nights before as well. So at first she was like, okay, just let me know what y'all do, end up going, or whatever. I'm like, we are going to end up going. Like, I'm telling you, we are going to end up going. Like, we're going. And she's like, yeah, I hope y'all actually go have her this time. I'm like, no. And I think, like, mid her saying whatever she was saying, I had a contraction. And I think in that moment, it hit her like, oh, nah, she going into labor. It's like, do I need to go get him from upstairs? I'm like, no. Well, in that moment, I couldn't say anything. I'm getting through the contraction. And after it was done, I'm like, no. You could run and go get him, but it wouldn't have stopped the contraction from happening just now. That was going to happen anyway. So I went back upstairs. They were still going. What I did was I got on my phone and I started timing them. And you was actually, well, you said you weren't asleep, but you were laying there. I thought you were asleep. I was tracking them. It went on for a little while as far as me tracking it, and then it popped up a message just like it did with Sevon, and it said, it's time for you to go to the hospital, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, okay. But I ignored it. I kept on tracking the contractions, just trying to make sure this time it didn't slow down, it didn't stop, it didn't get lighter, anything like that. So that message, I got that notification about going to the hospital 3 times before I was like, okay, we got to get out there and go. So I went ahead and jumped in the shower. I was still tracking them. It had like a little 20-minute gap in between when I was in the shower. And then I picked back up and I was tracking them. They still stayed consistent, and within like 3 to 5 minutes, you got up.
Because I could hear it. And I'm like, okay, this sounds very familiar. It sounds just like with Sevon. So I knew it was time. I was like, all right, let me Get him hop in the shower.
He got in the shower, and when he got out the shower, he started to help me, with those pressure points when I was having the contractions as I'm trying to get dressed. Then we get in the car, we head to the hospital. We get to the hospital, and I'm just like, I really, 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 really hope they don't send me home, because I am, in fact, gonna have to come right back. Like, I just knew, okay, they waste their time sending me home. She's still coming, because this is labor pain. Like, she's coming. We had to sit in the waiting room, which was, I thought, ridiculous, because I'm just like, what?
In the emergency side.
In the emergency side. I'm like, what? Because they changed. Because when I had Savon, we went into the labor and delivery side. And as soon as I went in there, they have it to where their labor and delivery is shut off at a certain point at night now. It wasn't like that before. Well, I can't say it was like that. It wasn't like that before, because we had Savon in the daytime.
Sure.
So I can't say that. It was a different experience, because we went on the elevator, went straight up to labor and delivery, got put in the room, checked, yada, yada, yada. This time, they're like, okay, we had to go to the ER. Go to the ER, telling them I need to go to labor and delivery. They asked, how many weeks are you, blah, yada, yada. Let them know. It's like, okay, you can have a seat over there. Someone's going to come down and get you. Now, mind you, I already had a contraction at the front, in front of the people that he's having to help me go through. And then I'm just sitting here like, now I got to be in this darn lobby having contractions, which is what happened until they came and got me. So they came out and got the wheelchair or whatever, took us back. We got on the elevator. Someone came from labor and delivery to get us and put us on the elevator, took us up, got us in the room. I was 3 centimeters dilated. No, I was 4 centimeters dilated. Sorry. I was 4 centimeters dilated. What did they say? 70% effaced?
Mm-hmm.
I was 4 centimeters dilated and 70% effaced. And so they were able to see, like, okay, well, you're making progress, because you just had an appointment earlier and you were 60% effaced, 3 centimeters dilated. So she was like, I'm pretty sure they're gonna keep you, but I have to go talk to the doctor, and basically get an answer on if they want to keep me or not. I'm sitting here like, they better not send us home. I was really in there like, oh my goodness, it's a possibility they could send us home, because I know they like to try to not keep you until 5 centimeters. I think the only thing that made them keep me was because, they also say when the contractions are 3 to 5 minutes apart, and when she was tracking them, they were 3 to 5 minutes apart. I know that helped me out a lot. So she came back in, she was like, all right, y'all ready to have a baby? And we were like, yes, we are. What happened? Why did we sit there?
Because they had to get the room ready.
So they were getting the room ready, and we was talking to the lady. She was mentioning the doctor that was there at the time. She asked if he had delivered our last kid by chance, and we was like, no, but it was a male. And I was like, I don't remember his name. Then she started to describe another guy, and I'm like, it was him. And she was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then I was like, I really was hoping a doctor that I had wanted to deliver since Golden, because she was like the first doctor I saw. I was kind of naive to how things worked. I thought who you saw, who you was dealing with, was absolutely who was going to deliver your kid. She wasn't able to deliver Golden because that was during COVID time. Her specific facility shut down, like literally last minute before Golden was here. So she didn't deliver him. She did not get to deliver Savon, which I went to the location she was at for that possibility again, as well. And so I was like, I really was hoping that I would just say Dr. B. That Dr. B was able to deliver her this time, And she was like, oh, wow. She actually comes in at 7 a.m. And we was like, what in the world? She comes in at 7 a.m. Like, so all we have to do is just wait to have her to 7 a.m. I'm like, I know that sounds crazy, but I'm like, I really want her to be the one. And I did not think that was gonna be the case. Hubby actually had said earlier on, how early was it in the pregnancy?
Very early.
He had said earlier on in the pregnancy that she was gonna be the one to deliver her. And I'm like,
after we found out the gender?
Yeah. I'm like, I don't see that happening. And mind you, at my appointment earlier that day, I had mentioned it to the doctor there as well, and she was like, she's there like seven times out of the month. And I'm like, 7 times out of the month? She definitely not gonna be able to deliver her. And she was like, I know that sounds like a little bit, but she's there like a couple times a week. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, when we found out she came in at 7, we like, wow, she's gonna be the one to deliver, because we did not see her coming sooner than that. At that time, it was like, what, 1 in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was like 1 in the morning at that point. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't see her coming before 7. That made me feel a whole lot better, because I really did not want particularly a male doctor again. No offense, I just don't prefer. You know what I mean? Let's fast forward. Time actually seemed like it was going by super duper fast during that time frame, even though it was a drag because of the contractions. It just seemed like when hubby finally said something about the time again, it was like 6 in the morning, it felt like. And it just was like, dang, your time done blew. At this point, I'm like, dang, because I was hoping like she would be here by like 11 in the morning. And I'm like, I don't see her being here at 11 in the morning at this point either. How the progression was, I guess. But mind you, every time they checked me, I was further dilated and further effaced. So it wasn't like I was at a standstill, but it just still seemed like it was every 2 hours. Fast forward, we're doing all types of things like on the little medicine ball and on this other little inflatable thing they brought in there for us where I was kind of turned away, but I guess gravity was doing its thing. I was sitting, a certain way with my legs open in front of the bed so that I was able to do whatever I needed to do during a contraction. It just was a long process of dealing with contractions with no epidural. It absolutely not at all at all. Because listen, I almost gave up both times I did it. Because it's not fun, like contractions. And then the further dilated you get, the more it hurts, the more painful it gets, the more intense it gets, the more close it gets, longer it lasts. It's a hot mess. But anyway, around that time, and I'm just starting to really feel like an urge to push, and I'm like, I'm feeling like I need to push, and it kept on like, okay, let me check you. I think they checked me. Water still didn't break, which it didn't with Savon. They broke it at 9 centimeters dilated. 8 centimeters dilated at this point. They were like, it would really, speed it up if we broke your water. I'm like, yeah, I was really hoping to be 9 centimeters. Because I didn't want to deal with the extra pain. Because we all know when that water break, the pain gets more intense. So I was like, I'm trying to make it to 9 centimeters before doing that. But I was like, at this point, I'm so ready for her to come. Let's just go ahead and break my water. So Dr. B had a C-section to go do. And she's like, okay, I'm going to go do the C-section. And then I'll break your water when I come back. And then we'll go ahead and have this baby. And I'm like, I don't feel like I'm going to last that long. So I'm like, what happens if I need to push before then? And she's like, I'll send the midwife in here. And she'll be able to be here, if I'm still in that C-section. So I'm like, ugh. But okay, cool. There's nothing I can do about that. Time's passing and I'm like, I feel like I need to push. So I got checked again. And they're like, okay, you're about what was it? I think they said 9, but my cervix wasn't ready yet. And so I'm like, no, like it's no way, because I feel like I need to push. So a little bit more time went past. Still dealing with the contractions and now I'm like, no, I'm about to just start pushing. And so they checked again, and then it was like, okay, you're 10 centimeters, but you still have some cervix there. So I'm like, what the heck? Can I push? They basically said if it feels better for you to push during the contractions, then you can start doing that. To me, I just hear you can push. So that's exactly what I started to do. I wish I did not do that, because since my cervix was not ready, me pushing for what seemed like forever definitely was at least an hour long process, if not more, of me pushing, my cervix started to swell. By the time Dr. B came in, my cervix was really swollen. She basically had to really help me while pushing. Yeah, I'm trying to keep it at a bare minimum. I'm trying to figure out how to say, without saying too much. But basically, we had to do a stretch and pull type of situation to get her head to come through. The swollen cervix was really in the way. And then also, the first couple pushes that I did, she pushed the cervix behind the baby. So when she came in, I pushed a total of 7 times before she was born. But 2 of those times was her pushing the cervix behind the baby. The other 5 times was me pushing to push her out. So realistically, if I would have just waited on the doctor, for one, I wouldn't have had a swollen cervix. Sorry, I am back. Don't mind the noise. I am pumping. And I technically forgot where I left off, but I want to try to wrap this up. Actual pushing process was extremely long. especially compared to with Sevon. Like, I feel like, well, hubby said I was pushing 3 times longer this time than I was with Sevon. Both my labors with both of them ended up being 18 hours long, but I really feel like if it wasn't for me pushing too soon and before the doctor was in there, I feel like it would have been cut down. If the doctor could have just been in there from the jump, pushed that cervix back from the start of me pushing, it would have been like 2 hours shorter, because they had a whole like 30 minutes, I guess, once they realized my cervix was so swollen, of them just asking me to please don't push, just breathe through the contractions the best you can and wait on doctor to get here. That's what I did, and I was struggling because at that point I really had the urge to push like every single time. It just was so hard for me to not push, and I'm just like, I can't. I was struggling so bad. We got through it, and next thing you know, doctor get in there, and like I said, after technically 7 pushes, 5 normal pushes, she was here. And I remember I pushed and her head was like basically there, like I just had to bear down just a little more and she would have been like head out. And the doctor was like, okay, can you wait 1 second for me? Can you wait 1 second? Because she hadn't called the pediatric nurses in or anything like that. And I'm like, in my head, I didn't even say it out loud, in my head I'm like, heck no. I've been waiting long enough, and I see her head. That's the finish line for me. I'm getting ready to push and give it my all, and that's exactly what I did. And she's like, okay, well, can somebody call the pediatric nurses in here, and yada yada yada. And then once her head was out, she's like, all right, can you give me one more push? Did that. She came out, and she really was not even crying. Did she cry at all?
Yeah, but barely.
Like, I just remember I literally kept saying, like, is she okay?
Chilling.
Yeah, I'm like, is she okay? Is she breathing good? Like, I was a little concerned because I'm like, she's fine. And then it seemed like she was choking a little bit. And I kept just like, you know, patting her back, rubbing her back. And it was like, that's a good job. Just keep doing that, because she just has, you know, stuff she has to get out of her throat, and they was suctioning and everything like that. That's basically how our labor and delivery went this go around with baby Anaria. And I feel like after that, you know, we were in there for a little while to be monitored for what they make you stand there for an hour, get put on the Pitocin and all of that stuff. And then we got shifted and moved to the room where you go postpartum, and that was it. I feel like that's it, right? I'm not missing anything.
I don't know. I fell asleep while he was talking. You told him how long it was?
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't feel like I missed anything. I feel like that's pretty much sums up our labor and delivery this time. Sorry we weren't able to record anything for you guys. So this is the best that I have to offer. It's just telling y'all how things went with our labor and delivery. Until the next video. We love y'all. We out.